Super Mario Eclipse is a mod that remakes Super Mario Sunshine by adding another 120 shine sprites to the game with new areas to explore with new bosses as well, as you can also play with new characters with their own special unique movesets that gives you a new way to play this game with this remade story. Now, I love playing Super Mario Sunshine as a kid, so I always have that nostalgia feeling towards it, even with all the problems it has, with all the save menus, the episode selections, those annoying blue coins. So when I heard that there was a mod for Sunshine that lets you go all over the island just by walking to certain points in the levels, it takes you to another area, and it adds a new ending to the game as well, with its own unique special final boss, which ended up getting me wanting to play it, as well as the fact they added autosave for when you're collecting the blue coins and shine sprites. So you would never have to deal with those annoying pesky menus again from the base game, which also kinda made blue coins a little more tolerable. And now you can also do some of the shines in different order as well, which is pretty nice. That being said, keep in mind this video is going to be going over my playthrough of the game, so I'll be giving away spoilers during parts of the video, and also, no, I will not be going over how to install this mod, or where you can get it, as I don't want Nintendo striking my video down. So if you want to find it, just a quick Google search will help you. Just go for it. Good luck. So as that's taken care of, let's get into the Mario characters that you'll be playing as in this game. And since this is a Mario title, Mario comes standard with his regular movesets for Sunshine, with slight additions, as now he can do long jumps, as well as new moves with nozzles. As the Hover Nozzle has this move called the Hover Burst that shoots you up in the air, the Rocket Nozzle has a move called Rocket Dive. It's when you go into a dive as the rocket is launching you up, shooting you like sideways to separate areas instead of just going straight up. Turbo Nozzle is just faster than the base game Turbo Nozzle, which makes some of the shines for the Turbo Nozzle a little bit trickier to do. Even though these are all really good movesets that add on to the mod, most of the moves I didn't really use. Though I think I only used probably one, or technically two, which was the Turbo Nozzle, which you technically have to use to get some of the shines, and the Hover Nozzle's Hover Burst, which I was using sometimes as it would have been an accident, as I'd be pressing a button and I accidentally hit the wrong button and it would just shoot me up. Another accident that happened to me was using the Rocket Dive, as I accidentally hit the dive button and it just killed me because I was needing to go up instead of going sideways. And then another character you can also play as is Luigi. After playing Corona Mountain, you get Luigi as a playable character. He is pretty much similar to Mario, as he has FLUDD with him as well, but he has his flutter jumps with him. That makes him stay in the air a lot longer, but everything else is pretty much the same. And then there is El Patissimo, the fast moon character that you race in the game, as once you complete all his races, you get him. And his whole gimmick is he is just running faster than Mario, and he also has this double jump that goes higher than Mario's jump, as he doesn't have FLUDD with him. And also hitting B causes him to throw barrels of water at stuff. So he does have a FLUDD-like mechanic, it's just he doesn't have FLUDD. But with El Patissimo's speed, I found that he is a very hard character to control, especially in the air with his double jumps, while I'd be always missing the platform that I'm trying to land on due to how fast he is. And then there is Yoshi, as he is very different than how he works in the base game, as you can now ride him without him eating a fruit, and he will start off as green, and while he is green, he is able to go in the water until you give him fruit to eat. It's a very welcoming change, as it makes a certain level a lot less painful than what it already was in base game. Now, a lot of the areas are unchanged, for the most part. What I really thought was cool though, was that I could grab one of the shines, and it keeps me in the same level, or at least in the same episode though. Some of them do kick you out, like during the boss fights and secret levels. But for the most part, a lot of the levels keep you in, which I thought was okay until I got to the newer areas, as I didn't have a single idea where to go to next in some of them. So I was basically exiting the level and then coming right back. Other than that, I find it a welcome addition if you like to explore, though a lot of the new areas in the final island are pretty cool. Like, I think the one that stuck out the most was Pianta Pit, as it's basically a pit under Pianta Village that you have to go down and explore. And there's really no way to get out of it if you're a Pianta. Though if you're Mario, you use mushrooms to get out. But the Piantas that are already down there, they're pretty much insane, as they're pretty much the chucksters in the area, as they'll be running around on the tree tops trying to throw you off, as you try to avoid them, as there is a shine for those chucksters you need to get. Another area that comes to mind for me is the Hotel Lucremia, as it's a hotel that's run by the Mafia, and in their first mission there, you need to fight them, as the Mafia will be using stews to fight you with, just for you to get their shine. And then there's one that's probably my favorite in the final island, is probably the Lighthouse Island, as the first time there's a thunderstorm that's hitting the island, as it's all gloomy and dark with rain pouring down, as you are need to go inside the lighthouse to fight one of the new bosses. And after that, the rainstorm is gone for the remainder of the episodes on the island. It's a really cool location, and I will highly recommend going there as soon as you can if you ever play Mario Eclipse. Though some of the areas are pretty cool, the new secret levels that you can find in the areas are actually pretty cool and unique as well. One that comes to mind is the Haunted Rock secret level in Spectral Casino, as you're going to the tower blind, trying not to fall off the path, and then climbing the tower using the jump pads and the boo tongues to get the shine, as you're trying to avoid the sleeping boo that is just there on the path. Really cool level. I really love the fact that they made the area so haunted and unique. They even made a custom Luigi's Mansion music for that level. It really gives off the spooky vibe. Another one I like was the one with all the planes and the trains in it, as in some of the secret levels before this one, you see these PNG images of the trains going around in the background, but in this one, they actually made where you go on them. My only problem is that it's a long cycle in this level, as it could take a couple minutes to get back to where you were and to get the shine. And not to mention the fact you fall off, you basically have to restart the level from the start again. It's just a really long cycle and it's very annoying at times. Though I think the worst secret level I did was the giant slide in Hotel Lucremia, as it's basically just a long slide that takes several minutes to complete, and if you fall off, it takes like a minute or two just for you to restart, as you just keep falling to the bottom, as the slide just goes down a far distance. And I mean far. The worst part of the slide is that it has checkpoints on it to see if you made it to a certain point or not. So if you fall off, you might not be able to get the shine. And yes, this did happen to me while playing this level. Like, I started at 20 lives, and I actually completed with just 1 or 2 lives remaining. It was really that bad. Either that or I'm just that bad. And one of the more annoying parts about it is that there's no 1-ups, so I can always re-heal myself, so I wouldn't get a game over if it did happen. Luckily though, it didn't. And due to the fact that it took me that many tries just to complete it, I actually figured out where the checkpoints were, so I just ended up jumping to them and finishing the course. But it's still really bad. Like, this is one of the courses I would rather just skip than ever do again. Though when it comes to the regular shines, they are a lot easier and funner to do than the secret shines. But what I love and also hate is the progress you can see on the island, as when you start the game and make it to the airstrip, it is completely dark, and that goes for the rest of the island as well, as every area is in darkness but the center of the final plaza, like in the regular game. And as you get more shine sprites, the brighter the plaza gets, but in Eclipse, it basically spreads to the entire island, which I love, that you can see the progress happening in real time as you play the game. But I hate that it's so dark at the start of the game. Thankfully, they actually made an option in settings that you can turn to regular sunshine mode, where the brightness is there at the start of the game, or if you just want to keep it in the dark like in Eclipse. As for the shines, a lot of them are unique. As in Worship Island, the first shine is one that lets you use the rockets that can only be found on the roller coaster and Piranha Park, which is a great way to get more uses out of it, as you need to use the rocket to blow up the landmines, as you can't use Mario or he actually dies. And another one is like a delivering pizza shine in Hotel Lucremia, as it plays the Spider-Man 2 pizza theme music in the games. As you deliver the pizzas, it's really nostalgic for me, as I played Spider-Man 2 when I had a GameCube myself when I was younger. Even though the game could have been better, I personally love the pizza music. It's a really good one. Then there was just one of the shines that was just a bit annoying in Ituro, as it's the final shine, and it's just a hide and seek, as you need to find 10 Piantas in the area. Personally, I would have found this to be alright, but they did a shine right before Shadow Mario in the area that had you need to save 10 Piantas and clean them from the goop, just like in Pianta Village. And yes, both of these 2 shines have timers on them that you need to hurry up and find all Piantas for. Though the goop one isn't bad, the hide and seek one is annoying because the Piantas are basically actually hiding, as they are in like these corners that you will pass, one's behind a sign that you will definitely miss. And then one of them is just inside the train. Like, I would have never found that one if I was not moving the camera. Overall, it's just annoying shine and I do not like it. Like in the original game, the blue coins are probably the worst part about Eclipse, as in the original there are like 240 blue coins in it, as well as boxes appearing that ask you to save every time you get one. But when it comes to Eclipse, there are now 420 blue coins, so they pretty much added 180. It's just painful at this point, but it at least removes the box that always asks you to save and replaces it with the auto-save feature. So you don't have to be asked 420 times luckily if you want to save or not. In all the new areas in the game, instead of having 30 blue coins, it's only like 10 or 20, which means you'll be able to finish these areas a lot faster than the base game areas. Though I think the only area that I like the blue coins is probably Corona Mountain's blue coins, as in the mod, you can go in there anytime you want, and it has a different design in it before the flood of the plaza happens. So it basically made getting the blue coins a lot easier than the original, as you don't need the boat to get them. I think the annoying part about the blue coins in Eclipse, when you give the raccoon all the blue coins, it rounds up to 42 shine. I personally think it would have been better if some of the 42 shines were their own thing, for an extra episode in each area or a hidden shine you need to find, but you get them as a blue coin instead, so I kind of think they could have done something different with it. A lot of the music is really good in this mod, and some that I mentioned earlier, like the Pieces theme music and the Luigi Mansion music, are a remixed version of the music that the developers made, which is pretty cool that they remade it. And then there's also some music that they just flat out made. I personally found Red Little City as a good one to listen to. As well as Mipha's Vaporwave. Really good music. Check out all the songs for Eclipse are on the Team Eclipse channel, as they are also the ones that made the mod. What I found pretty neat about the Eclipse story is that it was reworked, as you start at Peach's castle and you go onto the plane before going to the airship from the original game that where you start off as. And some of the cutscenes were remade as well, as the final cutscene in the game shows off the destroyed plaza on Aldefino and the new areas for Eclipse when Bowser is talking to his son at the ending of the game. They also added new cutscenes for recruiting Peltissimo. I really find that funny to see that. So, what's different about Sunshine and Eclipse? Well, after defeating Shadow Mario in area, in Sunshine is 7, but in Eclipse it's like 10. The town is flooded, you go into Corona Mountain, you fight Bowser, and the game ends in Sunshine. But in Eclipse, it continues on to Daisy Cruiser, as there's more sunshines to collect off the main final island, which I found pretty cool, as I love Double Dash's tracks, as well as Daisy Cruiser and Peace Beach, as they are playable levels after clearing Corona Mountain. What I also like is that they added a snowy area, which was nice, as the game was evolving around summer and beaches a lot, which was a really great change of pace. Though I think the area that I hate most was Spectre Casino, as one of the shines was difficult to get, as I was needing to stay on the card, as it takes me to the shine, as it flips back and forth as I try to avoid it. I would say it's kind of similar to those cubes you will find on those secret levels, but the card is much worse, as, well, it's a card instead of a cube. So yeah, it's pretty annoying to do that one. Luckily, the other shines in that level were a lot easier, and one of my favorite secret shine levels is in this one too, so it's not all bad. And since that there are new areas to explore in the game, it shouldn't come to no surprise, as there's new bosses as well that appear. As one of the cooler bosses is in the Lighthouse Island, that is this evil or darkened shine sprite, as it flies above you, shooting out black goop at you, as you are supposed to avoid it until it does some sort of ground pound, as then you are now able to hit it. after that. And the sound and music that plays, it gives off this boss vibe, Wiggler mixed in with the King Boo fights. Overall, pretty cool boss, really enjoy it. And then there's this one boss that the modders pretty much remade, which was P. Piranha, as it's now on Yoshi's Island, and it's like this fire version of the original, as it's basically episode 4 PT in Bianco Hills, as it flies around everywhere. But what makes this one worse than that is that it has fire gooping, as he'll be dropping into the ground, and then that tornado thing he does will be spawning fire goop on it as well, as you need to hurry up and fill his mouth with water. It can be really painful to fight him with all the fire goop everywhere, but I can also see why he's on Yoshi's Island, as this is basically one of the last areas of the game you will explore, as it's basically a challenging boss for the ending game section. And as for the final boss, it's basically a mixed bag. I love the fact that Bowser is attacking the final plaza for revenge, as Mario basically ruining his son's vacation, as he says. And he's basically just shooting fire at you and throwing bombs and shooting bullet bills at you as well, as he basically flies around the area. It's a pretty cool final fight to end the game off in. I basically love the fact that I climbed to the top of Shiny Gate, as he basically follows me up there, and I was able to just finish him off right on top of the area. It's pretty cool. Though my only problem is that you need to get all 239 shines before activating this boss, as this basically means you need to get all the blue coins and all the shine sprites in the other areas as well, just so you can get this secret final boss fight and unlock a special location after getting 240 shine. It's just really time consuming getting all of them, and some of them can be really painful just to do, since you have to complete it if you want to do this boss fight. And then after doing the boss fight, getting all 240 shines, Princess Peach's castle becomes available to enter, as basically they remade the entire castle from 64, as it has paintings you can jump into, and it takes you to these little worlds in the paintings. And these levels basically consist of unused level ideas, the beta levels that you find in the trailers, and some beta boss fights, as well as levels from other games in there as well. It was pretty neat playing all of them, as I think my favorite was the Wind Waker level. That was one of the islands of the game, which is Windfall Island. As I personally love the Wind Waker myself, I just love it when I had the GameCube. Even though I don't have the GameCube anymore, I still think Sunshine is a good game, and Super Mario Eclipse just makes it a lot better with all the improvements and new areas to explore with its new bosses. In my opinion, if you ever decide to play Super Mario Sunshine, I would highly consider trying out Super Mario Eclipse instead, and maybe you like it more than the original. So I highly recommend to check it out when you're able. But thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.